All right, let's go. 5-minute lessons on factoring. All right, consider factoring to just be undistributing. That's really all you're doing. You know that when you distribute, you look for a parentheses, you do multiplication, you get rid of the parentheses. Well, when you factor, parentheses don't exist, and you want to make them exist. So, first of all, it's important you know when we're like, these are not equations. We cannot solve this thing. Why are they not equations, John?
Because
They don't have an equal sign. That's the root of the word equation, vocabulary. So what can we do? Well, we can put an equal sign and just change the way this looks. So in order to do that, you got to remember this greatest common factor idea. So what's the greatest number that goes into 25 and 5? Well, that's 5. What's the greatest amount of x's that go into x squared and x to the fourth? X squared. So that is the greatest common factor of these two terms. Now is where the parentheses comes in. Okay, and you ask yourself, 5x squared times what equals 25x to the fourth? Well, I know this is going to be a 5. Now we got our 25. And this is going to be, Jonathan, an x squared. Okay, so we've undistributed. And now, this is when it can be hard. Some people would leave this blank. 5x squared times what is 5x squared? It's a 1. You got to put that 1 in there. Okay? All right. So this one's a little harder. What's the greatest common factor of 10 and 12? It is 2. What is the greatest common factor of x to the fourth and x to the third? X to the third. And it's going to be a y squared. Okay? Now you're basically undistributing. 2 times what is 10? 5. X to the third times what is x to the fourth? X to the first. If you just had x, then you're doing it better than I am. That's the better way to do it. But I just don't want to confuse anybody. And then we do have a y left. Okay? Correct? All right, now, over here is going to be a 6. And then that's it. Right? Okay. All right. What about factoring trinomials when a is 1? Okay, what's a trinomial? A trinomial is a polynomial, okay? Maybe you don't know what a polynomial is, with 3 terms. A polynomial is a many-termed algebraic expression. So that thing right here, this whole thing is a trinomial. How do we factor them? You look for 2 numbers that add to be b and multiply to be c. So let's look at this one. How would we factor? Well, look, here's the deal. If you're not good at these, you should get a program from me that'll factor for them. But they're way more they're way quicker to do in your head. Like I just know that this is x minus 8 times x plus 2. What did I do? Well, I cataloged through all of the multiples of 16, of negative 16. So we got 16 here. How can I get 16? What? Sorry. It can be 8 and negative 2. It can be negative 2 and 8. It can be 1 and 16. It can be 16 and negative 1. It can be 4 and negative 4, or it can be negative 4 and 4. That's all of them. Only one of those pairs adds up to be negative 6, and that's this one. Oh no, I wrote that one twice. Hold on. No undo on this thing. That's the worst. Sorry, it should be negative 8 and positive 2. That's what I had written down all along. Okay, so notice if I foiled this, the opposite of factoring a trinomial is foiling a trinomial. If I foiled that, I'd have first x squared outside plus 2x inside minus 8x, aha moment there, and then minus 16. What does that give you? It gives you x squared minus 6x minus 16. That's exactly what we started with. That shows you that factoring is the opposite of foiling. All right, well, some people will teach you like this is its own thing, but it's not. I want you to notice that like x squared minus 25, that's really x squared plus 0x minus 25. Can anybody tell me two numbers that multiply to be negative 25 and add to be 0?
5 and -5.
That's right. X plus 5, X minus 5. Okay? And that's correct. That is how you factor this. That is correct. So what happens? Well, this is called a difference of squared because is X squared a perfect square?
Yeah.
And is 144 a perfect square?
Yes,
It is. So when you see them, the factor version is X plus the square root of that number, and then X minus the square root of that number. In case you're wondering, you cannot factor a sum of squares because there's no two numbers that multiply to be 144 and add to be 0.